In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Kelly Oubre JR and his shooting form. He is now on the Golden State Warriors this year. I think he's doing a great job defensively, and of course, shooting was always something that always came up with him, but I think he's doing okay this year, and of course, there's always room to get better. So let's get down, let's check out Kelly Oubre JR and how he shoots the basketball. Okay, so in this clip, he catches that ball from the right side, and then he goes into his shooting form. And what we can see here is when he catches that ball, he looks down and looks at his feet. Obviously, he's trying to see if he is shooting a three-point shot. Anytime you're close, you always want to double check. But personally, I would say that he should know exactly where he is anyways on the court. He shouldn't have to look down to take that shot. He should always be looking at that rim, and this is one of the mistakes that he does himself, and a lot of younger players do as well. Even if you had your foot on the line, yes, technically it's a bad shot if your foot is on the line. However, personally, always have your head looking at that rim, knowing where you're aiming. He does make this shot, but if you're looking to become a better shooter, this is one thing that you can lose from your game to become better. After he starts looking up, he dips his shot, or dips the ball down from his hips roughly down to his thighs, and then he brings the ball back up into his shooting form. A dip is always good. A dip is what gets that right side in line with the basket most of the time. Some players don't like to dip. It's a personal choice. I find it's a little bit better, of a more consistent shot. His left foot is facing towards the rim and ahead of the right foot, which is something that you would want to see from a left-handed shooter. That is getting your left side in line with the basket. From there, we do see that he is tilted away from the rim, which is something that a lot of left-handed players do, specifically left-handed. Most right-handed shooters will have a small deviation away from the rim, but we do see that the left-handed players do have a lot more. And the reason for that is to get that shoulder and elbow in line with the rim. Now, what we do see here is some absolutely horrifying defense. Terrible, absolutely terrible. But anyways, what we do see is he goes up into his set point, and something that we do see is his shooting arm, his left arm. This arm right here, he does bend it on the way up, and he brings that ball up roughly the middle of his body. Now, this could be the reason why he's not shooting over 40%, is between these two factors. He's not always looking at the rim, and he brings the ball up close to his body, up the middle of his body. Now, I'm not saying that this is 100% the reason why. However, we do see in most players that if you bend your elbow on the way up, you have a little bit more of an inconsistency to your shot, but that's not always everybody anyways. He does have a thumb flick right there. We do see that palm facing the rim, which again could contribute to the lack of spin, the lack of backspin to the ball. However, he does have that hard release, which makes me think that he should have a lot of spin, but we do see in most cases that he doesn't have a ton of spin on his shot, ton of rotation. Now, I'm not saying a thumb flick is bad. This guy right here, Steph Curry, he shoots with a thumb flick, and it's not that terrible of a thing to do unless it affects that ball. When Steph Curry does it, it brings that ball up into the set point higher so that it has the ball over top of his upper arm. But we don't have to see that here. We see that in other cases as well. Kelly Oubre JR shoots from the left side of his head, so he doesn't necessarily need that thumb flick, but that thumb flick does release from the ball before his left hand releases the ball itself. And he has that hard thumb flick, or that hard release, which means that he should have a lot of backspin on his shot, but he doesn't. But the nice thing that I do see is that he has that elbow almost above his forehead, roughly at his forehead height, right there, which is good. You generally want to have that elbow above your forehead. That's going to give you the arc on that ball. We do see that he does jump slightly forward by maybe about 6 inches. Now, jumping forward by 6 inches is not going to affect your shot all that much. When you jump forward on your shot, basically what that does is it gives you more power to get that ball to the rim. That's why a lot of players will do this. If you jump straight up and then straight back down, what's going to happen is you're going to have a more consistent shot. if you're jumping forwards, backwards, or sideways in either direction, what's going to happen is now you have to basically jump that distance every single time to be consistent, and that is kind of hard, especially when you've got defenders running out to defend your shot, even though this guy is doing an absolutely terrible job doing so. And let me show you why. Like, no hand up, just runs right by him like if nothing is ever happening. And of course, Kelly Oubre Jr. makes this shot. The reason why I think he hits a lot of mid-range shots off of the dribble is because when he's attacking left and he's able to attack left and then pull back towards his right side, he's able to be already tilted away from the rim, and he already has that elbow and that shoulder in line with the basket, and it's it allows him to be absolutely lined up with his shot. And that's why we always see these shots from Kelly Oubre Jr. from the three-point line missing a lot of the time from set shots, but when he drives, whether it be a mid-range or a three-point shot, he generally has a very high shooting percentage, and I think it's because when he's driving towards that side, he's able to get his body in line off the dribble, off a little bit of a step back, and that's why we see mid-range shots being his thing, and shots after a dribble being his thing as well. And we see this again coming up where he takes a quick stutter step, gathers that ball, and he has that left side of his body in line with the basketball net, and that is just how he shoots. So in conclusion, when he's doing these set shots, he should be on his way right now to getting his body in line with the basketball net. Like if he was to dribble up and not look down for the shot, that is going to be the key for him, and that could be the key for you as well. If you find that you're a much better dribble than shot player, if you've got a higher percentage after dribbling, this could be the reason why. Coming off the dribble, you've already got your body in line with the basketball net. Meanwhile, for shots, you have to set yourself up to do it. So what you should be doing, if you're in this same situation, is to be able to get your body in line when you're about to catch that ball. So what I would have done as him, or if I was his coach or trainer, I would say, well, in this case, you've got that pass really far out in front of you. You should have taken a step forward. You should know where you are on the court at all times anyways. It should be ingrained in your brain to know where exactly you are. Should have taken that step forward. He should be here, and then he would be able to take that quick step back over to here and have his body in line and make that shot. But he makes the shot anyways. But if you find that, hey, you tend not to make too many set shots, which we don't see that much from Kelly Oubre Jr., this may be a solution for you. I hope that this video does help you shoot the basketball better. This was not a hit job on Kelly Oubre Jr. I think he is a fantastic player, especially on the defensive end. But his shooting, when it's below 30%, you are no longer a player who is going to be a really big threat from the three-point line. And we can see from the actual ESPN stats that he does have a 32% career three-point average. This year's a bit lower at 31, and he did have a very good season with Phoenix with 35 last year. Now, when it comes down to it, you want to be above 32% to be actually a higher chance or a higher scoring player than if you were to drive towards the rim. That's just how some of these numbers work out. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video.